2, 1.
Ready.
Just relax and enjoy the ride.
INCROWD 815, INCROWD 815, INCROWD 815, INCROWD 815, 815.
Arms for your chairs. Our chairs for your arms. I'm Greg. He's Tom, dropping knowledge on you like it's 1999. How's it going, buddy?
We're partying.
This is the 207th episode of the INCROWD 815 / Saturday Morning State Line Show podcast. The 23rd day of March, the year 2024, the latest it has ever been
In the history of mankind.
And you made it. Congratulations. We've got a big show all set up for you and the person still sleeping next to you. So give him a little elbow. Or wait, here, I'll go this way. Let's see if I can knock that mug out of Tom's hand there.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
You like my mug, by the way?
Generic coffee. I love that.
It's really cool. It says ingredients may vary according to taste, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever.
One of my favorite creations in graphic arts class in high school was a greeting card. And on the front of the greeting card, it said generic greeting card. And when you opened it up on the inside of the top, it said, whatever. I know I could have sold millions of those. I should have patented that, but whatever. Didn't get my copyright. We have a couple of guests lined up for you today. Ron Kluwer from Gorman and Company, who's they're in the news a lot in Rockford because they're doing so much stuff here, developing. They were a huge part of developing Embassy Suites, I believe. They're taking over the old Barbara Coleman Yards to make that into a beautiful space. The projections of what they're doing there are really, really cool. I want to talk with Ron about he's a Rockfordian and he loves Rockford and he's promoting Rockford wherever he goes across the country. I want to talk to him about affordable housing and what we can do here in Rockford to make more housing available.
And it's common sense. The more you improve a downtown, the more you improve a city, the more people move in, the more revenue comes in, the more tax dollars come in, and all of that. And I think it's wonderful because I'm a lifelong Rockfordian as well. And I remember when South Main used to thrive. I remember when all downtown used to thrive. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, 40 years ago, when I was a youngster just wandering around the city, whatever. And maybe it thrived a little bit before that, and I was at the tail end, I guess. I don't know, but I do remember, and it's nice to it's nice that somebody's taking an interest in it and moving it forward. I love it.
We've made some positive lists in the country as far as affordable housing goes, but we could still be doing better. So we'll talk to Ron, and then we've got Lisa and Christina on. What are they going to talk about? Well, we have the week of the young child coming up in just a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks away, three or 4 weeks away. We're going to talk to them about what that's all about and what Birth to 5 Illinois is up to. Again, we've just had her on the show a little bit ago, and she's back. Apparently, we like her.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll find out why when we talk to Lisa and Christina coming up in a little bit. But first, before we do anything else, let's try this. Our current race to 10 has Joann in lead by a score of 2-1. None of us have perfect brackets, so we're not going to even talk about the NCAA men's basketball tournament. That's
Kentucky losing, that was it.
Yeah,
and Wisconsin and BYU and I mean there were some big names that fell. Big names. But Kentucky losing, there is nobody that picked who was it that beat Kentucky?
Oakland from Michigan.
Oakland, Michigan. Yes.
Little Oakland College from Michigan beat them. Our big number of the week this week is 640 million, and the answer is spend or Scott.
Okay.
Spend or Scott. Yes, we'll tell you the answer by the end of the show, and we would love to hear from you. In the comments somewhere, put your guess. Is the answer spend? Is it Scott? And why do you think that? I mean, throw a little story in there. Let's show your creativity and say 640 million is this answer because this. I've given examples before. I don't need to be creative right now, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
It's a shot. Give us a shot.
What
All
was the
right.
number again? I'm sorry.
640 million. And by the way, go
Okay.
ahead and Google it. I honestly do some Google searching. 640 million, spend or Scott. If you can find the article that I found this week, it would actually be kind of a miracle. I don't think you'd find it, but maybe you will. Maybe you will. This one might be a little more findable than we've had in the past. So give it a shot. All right. I've got some shout outs. I'm going to save those for later because I want to get to our guests. Birth to 5 Illinois is a big deal here in Illinois. It's becoming a big deal in Illinois. And a lot of reason for that is a little lady named Lisa, and she's brought a friend with her this week, Christina. Ladies, welcome to the INCROWD815 podcast.
Hello. Hi, guys. Nice to see you again.
Hello.
Nice to see you too. We're going to put you up here on the big screen like that. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. We are glad to have you back again, Lisa, and you've brought a friend with you. So before we get to your friend, tell us again about yourself. Where did you grow up, and how did you find yourself here in Rockford?
Sure. I grew up in Caledonia. I actually went to Caledonia Elementary School in Boone County. I moved away from the area for a while, but when I came back to start a family, I went to Rockford University, finished a 4-year degree in Business of Science and Management Studies. And I was looking for work in the area and happened upon the Birth to 5 Illinois website. And it just looked like a really good fit based on my skill set. And luckily they agreed. So I've been with Birth to 5 for a little bit over a year now, and I'm just really enjoying it.
Nice. Okay. So you brought a guest with you today. Who did you bring? And why is she invading your camera space?
What's that?
Meeting the camera space.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, we are working together on Week of the Young Child, which is coming up on April 13th. We have a free family fun fair. The Week of the Young Child, I'll let Christina talk about it a little. I'm first year in on the committee this year. So Christina's been doing it for several years, and she has a wealth of knowledge. You'll see when she tells you about her background in early childhood.
Where are you from, Christina? Tell us about yourself.
I was born and raised here in Rockford. I went to Northern Illinois University, just, not too far, and got my degree in child development, and then went back and got a master's in early childhood education. So I've been in education for nearly 20 years now. I recently, 12 years ago, became a member over at Harlem School District as a home visitor. So I was working with the Birth to 3 program. That was a grant funded position through the state of Illinois. And now I'm currently a early childhood teacher in the preschool classroom over there at Maple Elementary. So I have been busy playing with children because that's the most important thing when we work with our young children. Play.
Nice. So Birth to 3. Some people won't realize this, but most of us who are probably our age, Tom, we think of school as kindergarten to 12, but not too long ago, K4 and K3 started up in our schools. Am I missing? That's not too long ago, right? That's fairly recent.
Well, Illinois has the preschool for all. So we really try to reach all families in our communities through screening and trying to find those families that could use the additional support to help our youngest learners. I don't know quite when those programs have started in each of our school districts, but I do know that it has been around. Example, like the Birth to 3 program has been around for over 20 years. Just a lot of people don't talk about it.
No.
A lot of people don't know that it's out there, and it's a great resource, both those programs and our preschool programs for our families.
Okay. So folks that are curious as to what programs are available to them at the schools these days, is this something that you guys want people to have, look up on the websites, come to schools? What do you ask people to do when they're wanting to find out what they can do for their pre-kindergarten children?
Sure. The YWCA offers INCRA, and that can help parents locate equitable and accessible childcare for their families. They can also reach out to the school districts. I know District 100 has just added some additional preschool for all slots, so they'll be filling those next year. But yes, the websites are a good resource. You could also call Birth to 5 Illinois. I'm always happy to help you. I've got a lot of databases I could search, and we can help you figure out the right person to get in touch with.
Okay. I definitely want to make sure I put in the chat today the link to your website. So I'm going to put that in right now. What other things should people know about Birth to 5 and what you guys have planned here for the rest of the year?
Yeah, we have really enjoyed working with the community. We've been reaching out to the local stakeholders, families, communities, business leaders, educators like Christina about what is needed in early childhood, because like Christina said earlier, the earlier we can get working with kids on just skills in a social setting, in a school setting, academically, it helps them later on in life. So we work a lot with Alignment Rockford, which Christina will talk about in a minute, and they talk about maximizing different things every day with your kids. They have a book we were going to share called The Rockford Basics, Things to Do with Babies, 0 to 18 months. You can find that on the Alignment Rockford website. You can find it on Amazon.com. And they include things like maximizing love with your kids, counting, reading, talking, singing. The earlier we can invest in our children, whether it be at home or in a school setting, the better it is for our community overall.
That's great information, because people don't think sometimes that, babies are babies, but I think there's studies that show even talking or singing to the baby in the womb still does things to them and prepares them for for life in this crazy world that we live in.
Well, there's a reason why babies gravitate towards mama when they're first born, because they hear mama's voice for 9 months. It's an absolute truism.
Yes, we came into the community because there's a lack of early childhood education and care. So one of the things the governor wanted to do in the state of Illinois was to make it the best child care, equitable and accessible place in the state of Illinois. In our region, we have 10,000 seats available for over 2,000 or 24,000 kids. So that's a lack of childcare infrastructure. So we're talking to the local community members like Ron Kluwer, who you'll be interviewing next. He's a huge proponent of equitability and accessibility of childcare and housing. So we're in discussion with him. He's actually doing a lot of good work in the community with his Avon development, adding childcare space to that development. So he's really thinking big picture, long term. Parents need access to that and able to enter the workforce, and it just helps our community infrastructure all the more.
Yeah. I think hearing numbers like that can be a little bit daunting to some people, because they think, oh my goodness, we're not even halfway. We're not even meeting half the need.
Right.
But like any project, what do they say? You don't eat an elephant in one bite. You got to take one bite, one bite at a time. Take what chunk you can here, what chunk you can there, and eventually you get the whole thing taken care of.
Because a lot of family members are providing that early childhood education, that's what Week of the Young Child benefits families, because they can come to these events and learn the small things they can do day to day to help their kids be better prepared for the school system.
Is Alignment Rockford big time behind this Week of the Young Child event, or how does that all connect?
Yes. So this year they have teamed up with us. They have always been a part of our collaboration. But this year they are actually one of our corporate sponsors. So this year they are helping provide the resources and being able to provide the facility to help house this event and the entertainment. The head spin guy will be coming and joining us and helping our little bodies move and understanding, the beat and how do we incorporate music into learning. So we thank Alignment Rockford for being able to be a part of this and to help put this event on.
April 13th, which I'm assuming is a Saturday.
That it is. Yep. From 9 to
noon. Northwest Community Center over there on Johnston Street, which that building's been getting a whole lot of use lately, hasn't it?
Yes, they definitely are inviting different events in to use their space. They have 2 gyms, one outside building as a space you can rent, and then the inside they have a after school care program that children can attend. So they have a lot of great resources over there for families.
Her last name is Fricks, correct?
Nicole, I believe.
Yes.
Nicole. And yes, so there's a couple of sisters that are involved in stuff over there that are really doing awesome things with the Northwest Community Center.
We have Laundry Cares just entered that center. So Birth to 5 is going to be there on the week of the young child, April 13th, reading stories to the kids in their new Laundry Cares literacy corner. So we're really excited about that. And we've got quite a few other collaborators. We could list a few of them if you want us to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so there's 15 partners that are part of this collaboration. We have Alignment Rockford, the Birth to 5 Illinois, Bright Point, Circles of Learning, the City of Rockford Head Start, Discovery Center Museum, Easter Seals, the Harlem School District, the Northwest Community Center, where we're hosting our event, Rockford Public Library, the Rockford Public Schools, Trinity Daycare, the Winnebago County Health Department, Youth Service Network, and then also the YWCA. So we have all been spending this last year working on this event and making sure that we are able to find local agencies and businesses that have to be centered around that early childhood development and what can we bring to this event so families can gather information and resources and use these skills at home themselves.
Now, I think when most people hear the words fun fair, you know, they think of bouncy houses and clowns and face painting and ring toss games.
Yes.
Is this what we're looking at?
We're doing a little bit of all of that.
Yes. There will definitely be games for kids to play. We will have like coloring of bookmarks and information for like sensory tables and how do we get our hands moving it for that fine motor skills that we are trying to develop. Each agency that is participating brings their own activities for the children to participate in with their grown-ups, with their caregivers.
Okay, awesome. Well, as we're looking at this event here coming up, we got a few weeks still ahead of us. Are you looking for volunteers? Is there any way that anyone else can plug into this event still, or is it already booked up and already settled?
No, if you are still interested, you can definitely reach out on our Facebook page. There's information there. There is my personal email address for Harlem School District that you can send me an email and I would be happy to respond if you want to participate in this event. The more the merrier. You can never have enough resources for our early childhood friends.
All right.
Yep.
So if somebody wants to volunteer still, I've got the link in the chat to that Facebook page there. So that should get you started.
We'll also have a couple of food trucks there, an icy truck available. So there will be access to that. Of course, you do have to pay for those things, but it's just nice to have it there. We're there for 3 hours and we find a lot of the families come in the beginning and they end up staying through the whole 3 hours because it's just a big party with the head spin guy. He gets all the kids and adults out there dancing. We're going to have a special appearance by Hammy from the Rockford Ice Hogs. So we're excited about that. A lot of fun stuff.
I'm not sure I ever heard of this head spin guy. This sounds a little extreme.
He's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Birth to 5 Illinois. Here's a look at the page. If you're looking up birth, TOFIVEIL.com, this is what you're going to find. All kinds of information. And if your kids or your grandkids are in need of some services, this is a good place to start.
Yep. And we'll be there on Saturday to discuss anything families have, an interest in or need assistance with. All of the vendors that are there are well equipped to talk to families about early childhood education and care. And we're happy to do it. That's why we're invested in this week of the young child as much as we are.
Awesome. Okay. Well, anything we didn't ask you about before we start to go over to Tom's trivia?
Oh, gosh.
And get a little bit tested. I didn't warn Ron about this. So, Ron, you're not on camera yet, but just so you know, you're about to be thrown into a trivia match.
Yes, I did warn Christina about that this morning.
I'm gonna set it up right now like this, Tom. It's the ladies of Birth to 5 Illinois versus the guys who are really frustrated in real estate right now. So it's gonna be
battle of the sexes. Here we go.
Yeah. So anything you want to add before we go on to that, there, ladies?
Just another kind of information. NACI, which is putting on this Week of the Young Child, is another great resource for families. The National Association of Education for Young Children is who promotes the Week of the Young Child. They have been around since the 70s with this Week of the Young Child. So locally, we've been around for nearly 2 decades, but nationally, we've been really trying to focus on the Week of the Young Child and what we can do.
I knew I had this website up for a reason. There it is. Look at that.
And they have tips on there for things you can do at home with your young ones to help them get ready for kindergarten and life in general.
Sweet. All right. Let's copy that and put that in the chat right there too. So it's an easy click to help find that. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for this great information, and stand by for Tom Trivia after this short little break. All right. Let's see if the screen worked out pretty good. Okay. There we go. We're going to switch these two around just like
we're going to have a commercial or something.
That's not going to work. All right.
Short. You said
Good
short
morning,
little
Ron.
break. I was going to go ahead.
How are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. We're about to be humiliated by a couple of ladies with trivia. So.
I don't know about that. Hi,
Ron.
Ron.
Hey, good morning. How are you, Lisa and Christine?
Good, good. Did you make anything fun for dinner last night, Ron? If you follow Ron, you'll see that he's a master chef at home.
I did not. I went out.
Friday night.
Yeah.
Had something going on.
Yeah.
One of my shout outs this week has got to go to Forest Hills Country Club. I was actually at a fundraiser event last night for Circle of Love Foundation, and the catering there was really, really good. So the fish and the chicken dishes were awesome over there. And congratulations to Dr. Helen and Dr. David Labe and their organization, Circle of Love, and all that they are doing around the world. All right, Tom, what do you got for us?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, by the way, what we are playing for today is a trophy. It's a 17-cent trophy. I bought like 8 of them for $1.10 or something. I figured it out to be 17 cents. Oh, wait. All right.
And he just broke it.
Yeah, if you are ready, I am ready.
Bring it on.
Here we go. Now, I came up with a Harlem question because of the Harlem connection here.
Okay, Christina, you're on the hot seat.
I don't have a Barbara Coleman connection or anything here. All right, first question. In what year did Harlem High School open for the very first time?
Ooh.
It's a multiple guess. Was it 1908, 1910, or 1912?
Oh,
I was way behind.
I would say 1910.
I was just at Harlem yesterday for their big pre-spring break pep rally. And by the way, the staff and the teachers threw it down for the dance-off. They were awesome. They were incredible. I think it was 1912 though. I'm going to guess 1912.
All right, Ron, you got a guess?
I say 1912.
Okay, it did not happen in the year the Titanic sunk, so 1912, gone.
Oh.
It did not happen when the Cubs won the World Series for, it would have been the second time, 1908. The answer is 1910.
Oh, there we go.
1910. All right. Girls are ahead, 1-0.
Right.
Question number two. Let's see. Question number 2. This is a word or phrase that means the same thing forwards as it does backwards. It is called a...
I know this one. I know this one.
Is it anagram?
Palindrome.
That's it.
Palindrome is correct.
All right. Did
Palindrome
you know that,
is
ladies?
correct.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You said it faster than me.
Okay.
They're just slow to the buzzer. That's all.
All
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
Well, let's call it
All
a
right.
tie. This will make this third question a little more intriguing.
All right. Question number 3 should be a pretty simple one.
Final chance.
I hope, anyway. Final chance for the big trophy. Right there. All right. Here we go. Number 3. Who sang this 1988 mega hit song called Opposites Attract?
Oh gosh, I should know that. Correct. I'm going to get in trouble for this for my
I'm
musical
singing it in my
friends.
head.
2 steps back, 2 steps forward.
You don't get to do it, Greg. You're a
It's
DJ.
Attract. 2 steps forward, 2 steps
Is
forward.
it Paula Abdul?
Yes, we have a winner.
I'm a child of
All
the
right, you know-
80s.
Well,
Okay,
done.
here's how I do it. I move the trophy. Oh, I got it. There. Did you grab it?
I think it.
Did you
I
get
think it
it?
fell on the plant behind him there, Tom. They can fish it out there.
I
later.
probably did. All right.
Awesome.
Well, there you go.
Lisa, Christina, best of luck to you in your event here coming up April 13th. We've got the links shared in the comments, and hopefully we'll be able to get a good report from you guys later on when we visit again, because I'm sure at some point before next school year, we'll probably have you back on again.
We appreciate it. Thank
Me
you
too.
for the
Thank you.
time.
You got it. Thank you, ladies.
Take care.
It's good to see you.
Keep up the good work.
All right. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm well. What's going on in Ron's world this day? Are we the highlight of your day today? Go ahead and tell us the truth.
You're going to be the highlight of my day. Absolutely.
I've got a birthday party to attend today. My niece is turning 18. Ooh. Yeah.
And let me guess, it's not an outdoor birthday party.
Well,
now,
if it
is
was, yeah, it's not anymore. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those-
Snowman contest.
yeah, baby. For those who have no clue who in the world Ron Kluwer is, fill us in on yourself. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to high school? What's your background?
So I am not originally from Rockford. Born and raised the first part of my childhood in South Chicago, and then moved to central Wisconsin, where I finished out elementary school in a small little town called Coloma, and it was Coloma Grade School. We were so small, we had shared classes, so like 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Then I graduated from Westfield High School in 1984, Westfield, Wisconsin. Go Pioneers! And then I wound up moving out to California for a bit and moved here in the late 80s.
So you grew up not far from the Wisconsin Dells.
I grew up not far from the Wisconsin Dells, so it's less than an hour.
Yeah.
So are you I have to ask, are you conflicted as to whether you're a Bear fan or a Packer
I'm not
fan?
conflicted at all.
And what
I
are
am
you?
either.
Aw. A Cowboy fan, please.
Actually, I am more a soccer fan than I am an American.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
Okay.
That is cool. I like soccer. My kids all played soccer in high school and in college, and I did my share of running along the sidelines with the yellow, with the flag thing. Sideline marker, sideline judge is what I was. So,
Those fun sideline markers. Yeah, get your own workout.
That's
yeah.
So Gorman and Company, for those who don't know what Gorman and Company is all about, this is not new. Gorman and Company's been around for a while.
We actually that's where I was last night. We were celebrating our 40th anniversary. So started in 1984, the year I graduated high school.
Okay. And how did you find yourself involved with them? What was your career arc to get there?
Sure. So years back, I served as the CEO of the Rockford Housing Authority. But just prior to that role, I was hired at RHA to be the director of real estate development. And at that time, the Housing Authority had done no real estate development in 30 plus years. And we had, an aging portfolio that really wasn't in a place where folks should either A, live in it and have a healthy place to live, or B, contribute positively to the neighborhood. So I was brought in to redevelop that portfolio. We wound up doing a national RFP for a real estate developer, and Gorman happened to be one of multiple respondents. And after a lot of review, we went up to Wisconsin. We looked at their assets, and they had done amazing work to either build or redevelop former public housing or just straight affordable housing. And so we chose Gorman as our partner. And I worked with Gorman from 2010 to 2017 when I left the Housing Authority. I took 2 years off and went to an organization called the Alliance for Strong Families and Communities, which was headquartered in Washington, D.C. And I worked in the D.C. office and the Milwaukee office, where we had our second office, which was our operations center. and then was there for 2 years and came back into housing. I had to get back into housing because it runs through my blood, and I joined the Gorman team at that time in 2019.
Okay. So you were 2019. That was prior or just when Embassy Suite Project? That was after they had already started.
To a close. So actually, because of the work Gorman did here on a couple housing developments and the work they had done in Milwaukee and Kenosha on 2 hotels there. There are some communities Gorman chooses to make deeper investments in, and Rockford was one of them. And then Mayor Larry Morrissey asked, our interest, and this was a result really of a national search again by a group called the Friends of ZEOC. And so they did an RFP for a developer. Again, multiple respondents. We have this niche in historic adaptive reuse, and it wound up that Gorman was chosen for that. And we had built the Embassy Suites, or renovated, what was the former AMROK building, into the Embassy Suites, and it's just been an amazing project. So when I was at RHA, we actually did a call for artists on behalf of Gorman to see how we may engage local artists in the renovation of the building. And if you go into, you'll see Jeremy from Mainframe has the amazing wood, repurposed wood art installation behind the reception desk, which is actually a map of our downtown. If you go up on the roof, you'll see the fire pits are done by a local artist named Tim Hawley, and then there's some other local artists as well who've contributed their work, or we purchased their work for the hotel. So I was involved that way, but I came in 2019 at the tail end of the Embassy Suites project, which is really a 12-year project from start to finish. By the time we were done, we were opening just in time for the COVID shutdown.
Yeah, right.
So our grand opening was supposed to be April 1st, and on March 17th, they shut down hotels, and you couldn't stay in a hotel.
And in spite of that happening, I think it's pretty fair to say, and I'm not just blowing smoke because you're on this podcast with us, I think it's pretty safe to say the Embassy Suites project has been way over anyone's expectations. It's just been a huge success.
Yeah, I was reminded last night as we were celebrating our 40th and spending time with my colleagues that 2 years ago, for the first time, Embassy hit the leading Embassy Suites in the entire nation.
Oh, wow.
We've been in multiple award categories, and we've even been on the international list. So yes, it is an amazing place. I'm biased, of course, but you can't tell me somebody would go up and sit on that rooftop and look out over our city and believe that it's a much different place, and we are an incredible place to live.
Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ron.
Well, that's a great story. There were naysayers when the whole project first started.
Always.
I was definitely not one of them. How many of those naysayers have come forward and said, wow, we were wrong. Great job. Because it is a great job. That building is unbelievable. It
is incredible, and thank you. So I think that there have been several, but probably the most meaningful, and I want to give a shout out to her, because it takes really integrity to come forward and say what this individual said. So former Alderwoman Vanita Hervey, when she was up giving her 3-minute speech about advancing Barbara Coleman, she got up and said, I voted no. I was against. I didn't think it should happen, and I was wrong, and it is incredible. And that's the type of that shows integrity on an individual's part. And I've always had respect for her, even though we've often been on wrong sides of issues, or different sides of issues, I should say. But for somebody to get up in a public forum like that and admit it was incredible. But that's the type of belief that was out there at the time, right? It's not going to work. It's going to fail. Why would we do this? Why would we invest in our downtown? And, you look now at the map of additional investments that are triggered when somebody is, either A, crazy enough, which, Gary Gorman was, but also genius enough at the same time to believe in a vision that an old, vacant 13-story industrial building could become an award-winning hotel, and then put their money after it, right, and make it happen. It causes other people to say, well, geez, instead of, they're willing to do an $87.5 million investment, I'll invest $2 million in this property or $12 million in that property. And the amount of West Side investment it has triggered has been incredible.
Yeah.
That is so
And
cool.
to see that an old building like that become a hotel. And now the situation that we find ourselves in, not just in Rockford, but all across the country with this lack of inventory, lack of housing. You hear anywhere from estimates of like 1.7 to 13 some million units short of current housing demand. It's pretty, I think the numbers support at least about a 4 to 5 million unit shortfall just in the last like 15 years.
Yeah.
Is renovating buildings like the old Barbara Coleman buildings into some sort of residential type spaces, is that going to make enough of a dent that people might get a little bit excited about it?
I think, yes, first of all, but it's also the Barbara Coleman project is going to be an amazing project. It is, however, the only vehicle, the historic tax credit in Rockford, that is making investments possible for housing. And so it is going to make a dent, but it is only one of the few ways we're able to make a dent.
It's a dent. Yeah, it's not the whole thing for sure.
Right. But even, if you look at any of the construction in Rockford over the last, 5 to 10 years, thank God for Justin Fern and Urban Equities, who's got a historic adaptive reuse model, has been able to leverage the River's Edge state tax credits for historic, as well as the federal historic tax credits, because if there wasn't somebody savvy enough to utilize those credits, then there really wouldn't be anything happening in Rockford for home construction. So there have been hundreds of units that have been added to the city's inventory, and they're only through the historic adaptive reuse because that tool actually makes economic sense. Without it, you're seeing no real new construction, although Justin did do the one building there just on South Main north of the embassy. But that really is an anomaly, and you don't really see those. It was 30 units, not 300 units or 3,000 units, which we're actually locally, arguably 5,000 plus units behind in inventory, and it all depends on what stratus of household you're looking at, whether it's low income households or high income households, which most wouldn't recognize, but we have a significant shortfall of housing for those individuals who are able and willing to spend $400,000 or more on a house. We don't have the inventory there either.
No. The looks on people's faces when I tell them we could build 1,000 houses today and they'd all be sold and moved into in a month,
Yep.
Because we have that kind of demand, and they're like, here in Rockford, here in Rockford, all across the country too, but mid-sized cities like Rockford across the country sometimes get overlooked in a lot of this stuff. But my goodness, when you take a look at cost of living and all the other aspects that have come into where people are comfortable living and what they want, we've got it here in Rockford. We just need to shine a light on it a little bit better.
You got to flaunt it a little more.
Yeah. And I think repurposing old buildings. I know Gary Anderson, I heard him give a talk about a lot of these old buildings and his great frustration, how many of them have already been torn down that could have been repurposed into useful, maybe even residential buildings. Let's not let any more of them go. And he named a whole bunch of different buildings around the city that he would love to see repurposed. He said, all right, we've got Embassy Suites now. We can see that this is viable. This works. The project now on the river there, the whole Barbara Coleman project, how long are you thinking this is going to take before there's actually people doing commerce and living in that space?
I think we've heard in the media they've started phase one, right, and moving forward. Construction on phase one, my understanding is likely a 24-month window, and so that could could be 2 years from now. We'll see people living in there.
Wow.
But one of the challenges, regardless of all the stuff going on in the media, is we just don't have a workforce either to build it, right? And so that's the other piece. We have a housing shortage and we have a labor shortage, and so trying to find an appropriate workforce that's going to be able to complete that on time, I know, is a challenge for every developer. We have a project coming up, and you really have to beat the streets, so to speak, to get people signed up and contracted to do the work, not because they don't want to, but because there's so much work elsewhere and in our region for just a small amount of workforce, and so we also need to increase that workforce.
Is there, are you hearing anything? This might be a question for someone completely different. I don't know, but I'm thinking internships and apprenticeships for electrical and plumbing and construction and all that sort of stuff. Where, hey, you wanna get out of high school and get schooling while being paid. There's got to be opportunities out there, and we need to start shining a light on those places, those opportunities too.
Oh, absolutely. I think RPS actually, as part of their career college and career academies, has done a great deal more over the last several years in the trade space. Right, for a long time, there was this push that everybody had to go off to college and become a doctor, a lawyer, or a scientist of some sort or something, not recognizing the great living that a tradesman can make as an electrician or a carpenter or whatever. And it's really what our community was founded on, is these types of amazing careers. And so it was good to see RPS go back in that direction. Rock Valley, I know, has a relationship with RPS around this. Habitat for Humanity uses high school students to build homes. And so, yes, that's there. Youth Build is out there doing work as well, but we need to put those all on steroids.
Yeah,
and get a lot more people in the workforce.
Good news. It's happening at Harlem High School. They're building on there, and they're going to be building the frames for houses that Habitat for Humanity will be building.
Yep.
And that'll be very exciting. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to shine a spotlight on today? We could go on all kinds. I told Tom earlier, I need to have you and I on and maybe a couple other folks to just have like an hour and a half, just open forum on real estate related issues around Rockford sometime. It would be a very informative, I think, for people to plug into that and see what opportunities are currently there and what opportunities should be there that we should be trying to find solutions for. But for the purpose of this today, is there anything we didn't ask you about that you'd like to let us know before we let you go?
I really think we need to have this broader conversation about real estate, and I'd love to do that. When we talk about affordability as an example, locally, decision makers and people in positions of power who could help us create inventory legitimately fear when somebody says the words affordable housing. And I've been in enough of these conversations and circles that we hear people say, we don't want that. And what they're
affordable, and they think disposable, and that's not
right. Exactly.
It's
like, no, we need to have high quality housing that's healthy for people to live in. It needs to be affordable to folks across all different income spectrums. And so it often gets lost in this discussion of describe what is affordable. We don't have a way to do that. And actually, we do. It just means that you're not going to spend more than 30% of your income on household expenses, whether you're a homeowner or an apartment renter. And because of this lack of inventory and the increase in housing prices and even rent prices, one can look at that as a homeowner and say, this is a rock star market, right? My home is worth so much more than I paid for it, but sell it and try to buy another one. And it's a challenge because there's no inventory. But on the other side, what we're seeing is more than half of our city is what's called housing burdened, meaning they're spending more than 30% of their income, and significant folks are spending more than 50%. And so that becomes a challenge as well. And so creating inventory is important, bringing that, amount of the number of folks who are housing burden down, both on the for sale and the for rent side, because that's what's going to make our stable neighborhoods. So I would love to talk about that and what we might do. We've got to change our model here. Land use restrictions are keeping us from creating inventory. And we've got 7,000 to 10,000 jobs coming to the Rockford area in the next 5 years. If we don't have places for these folks to live, they're going to live somewhere else, and we're going to miss out on an opportunity to grow our community.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was, the National Zoning Atlas. Were you the one that turned me onto that?
Yeah, we were talking about it. Yep.
That the National Zoning Atlas is one of these hopeful partial solutions to our situation, and I don't know if they've gotten how much they've done in the Midwest yet, but this effort to let people know, hey, here's the zoning issues that your community is dealing with and why builders are choosing not to build in your area. What are we going to do about it? And there's the question, Ron, what are we going to do about it?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, so Midwest Chicago's actually done some amazing work around allowing accessory dwelling units, allowing duplexes to be built on single family lots. Even, there are communities that are going with up to 6 families on a single family lot. And part of that goes back to those land use regulations, right? Where even here in our city in 2007, 2008, we adopted a new zoning ordinance that increased the minimum lot sizes. So you really can put a 4 to 6 family on a single family lot that is, from the newer regulations, if you will. But try to do that in a single family neighborhood, and I think neighbors are going to, go up in arms. But I live in Edgewater, and I've got neighbors down the block living in 4 families and 6 families, and they've lived together this way for decades, and it works. But we've become so fixated on single family that's the means. And so with our zoning regulations, we've increased the costs of building single family alone, and so being able to get some low density multifamily would be, I think, important. Changing our regulations to allow that, changing our regulations that take away those minimum lot sizes, which are really excessive, and allow us to get back to, again, Edgewater, all these historic neighborhoods west of the river and south of the city are built on small lots and small homes. Even on the east side, you look at the area around Edgebrook; those are small lots, small homes, and they were built that way for a reason, because there needed to be starter homes. Mm-hmm. So we don't really build starter homes anymore. We just build the big ones, right? And those aren't the inventory we need in bulk or in mass. Right. Yeah, the starter home new construction market is non-existent, if not like 1%, maybe. Right. It's crazy low. Well, in most cases, it's illegal to build them under our current zoning code. That's and something's got to change. I know. I think we have some advocates, at least in local government, that are seeing the need for that now and realizing that things have to be done. So, not to say who to vote for, but voting matters. It absolutely does. Ask people who are running for office what they think about the housing situation and the lack of inventory and zoning laws, because some people running for office might be thinking about it, but they might not be thinking about it. So bring it up. Let them know that it's on your mind. I know it's on mine. I don't know what the solution is, other than to maybe tweak some of these zoning laws. And who was it this week was telling me that, or you were telling me when we were chatting earlier this week, it used to be about $17,000 right up front for a builder requirements to build a new house. Now it's up to like $28,000 just on these required things that the builder can't get around. Yeah, when I was with William Charles years back, and the city was looking at updating its zoning ordinance, and at the time I understood why. Like, we were building a lot of really cheap and not attractive looking housing, and it wasn't what we needed to do, right? And so affordable, as you said, isn't disposable, and so there was concerns about that. So there was a big shift, though, that increased minimum lot sizes, that increased, the facade limitations for brick and windows and all these other things. And back at that time, we did an analysis and sent a memo off to the city, which I have on my Substack posts. But it showed the math that you're creating an extra expense of $17,000 per household, a single family house, just to accommodate these new land use regulations. And we did the math again here about 2 months ago. It's $28,000 in today's numbers, and I think that's why we are not seeing homes being built in Rockford. If you look at the permit trends, Habitat is our biggest developer in the city of Rockford.
Do you have a link somewhere to your Substack that I can copy and paste?
I mean, it's just substack.com and Ron Kluwer, but I'm happy to send it to you, Greg. I actually was working on my article this morning for today. I get conflicted on what way do I want to go sometimes because there's so many stories to write.
Right.
Actually, I'm focused. I'm going to stay focused on the connection between health and housing. And while I'll continue to beat the drum about the need for inventory and how do we improve our land use regulations, not doing that when you look in the city of Rockford. In the last article I posted, which actually was just about 2.5 weeks ago, the connection between poor quality housing. So this is old housing that's becoming blighted and not really being renovated. And illness, so things like asthma and even mental health are tracked back to the quality of the house an individual lives in. And so, there are so many variables in a home that can either help you live a healthy life or unfortunately contribute to high medical costs and create more problems. And we were in a meeting, a group of us, last week, and this is an initiative that's going to be coming out here in the next several months. So I'll refrain from saying what it is yet because it's another organization. I don't want to burst their bubble. But we were looking at this map that they created, a heat map, and the heat map was identifying those neighborhoods in the city of Rockford that are neighborhoods of success, right, which most of them are on the northeast side. And I say most because there are also neighborhoods of challenge on the northeast side. And so it was neighborhoods of success, neighborhood of challenge, and neighborhoods of significant challenges. And so, significant challenges and challenges were identified as purple and teal green, respectively. When you looked at the map of the city and you saw 70+% of our neighborhoods fell into those two categories, that's a challenge. And how do we continue to keep our neighborhoods vibrant and great places to live and work and have fun? It all goes around the value of housing, right? And so not only do we need to improve inventory, but we need to improve the quality of the inventory we have. So the county health rankings and roadmaps released this week, 2024 health numbers and rankings for counties. And when you look at Winnebago County, last year we were in the upper 90s for health outcomes out of 102 counties. And so, we would rather be towards the number one for health outcomes, but we're at the bottom. And when you look at the contributing factors, a lot of it is the quality of our housing in many of our neighborhoods. So that's what I'm going to write about this week in the connection to the rankings.
And some of that can be, it sounds so immense and it sounds like such a huge challenge. And some of this stuff could be solved is simply, and this, I'm using the word simply, but track me here. We're simply solving some of these food desert areas where we need a good grocery store near that neighborhood. Or, there are a dozen houses that, they're beyond repair. They just need to be leveled and restarted, build anew. And having that done in a few different neighborhoods here and there could be the spark that rejuvenates the neighborhood.
Absolutely. And I think, that what you just mentioned, the access to food, and then the access to healthcare and the access to quality education all falls under this umbrella of the social determinants of health, which, I wish they were called the social determinants of life, because then housing folks and economic development folks would pay attention to them. But those are the things that create the conditions for which people can live successful lives. And so the housing is the foundational piece to it. But if it's in a neighborhood that lacks all of those other things, it's far more difficult for that family to be successful.
Yeah, I think we're pretty blessed and lucky here in Rockford that the healthcare part of it is pretty much taken care of for the most part. So that's the good news. But yeah, we've got some food deserts out there, and we got some blighted neighborhoods. Let's talk further about maybe setting up a special podcast edition, maybe some weekday when we can get some of our other local real estate related compadres on a podcast and spend an hour or two just going over this stuff. Ron, appreciate your time. We're going to let you go and enjoy writing your article.
I will. You guys have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Here's Ron Kluwer. He's the Illinois market president at Gorman and Company, LLC. I put a link to his LinkedIn profile in the chat so you can find him very easily. I'll admit, I don't read word for word everything he writes. He writes a lot, but I try to skim most of what he writes because it is so informative. And whether you're in the real estate industry or not, it's just really good information to know about your community and how it relates to other communities similar to ours across the country. Joann, I think this is the latest that we've ever gotten to you on this show. Good morning, Joann. How are you?
Good morning. I'm sorry, I just woke up. No.
You're forgiven.
I was waiting for my call.
You're forgiven. You are absolutely forgiven. How's everything over at PAWS today?
Pretty good. We got a couple of new dogs in. I've got a new foster. I got a new foster this week. And I've got another new foster named Smitty, who's in the back room getting ready for me to take home.
Oh, okay. You're adding one to your menagerie today.
Yeah, someone asked me. No, I should say this is funny. No baby yet. So we're still waiting on the edge of our seats. No one more than Laura, who's on the edge of her bed, but
grandchild number
4.
4, yes.
So
Awesome.
I'm anxiously awaiting, and she's in labor, but it's going slow.
Okay. So
But
prayers in that direction this morning.
yeah, we don't know boy or girl yet. So, and I've been watching too much of what is it called, The Midwife. So no too many complications, whatever.
That can be both a good and not so good.
I realize my passion is watching medical shows.
Okay. So could you have been a nurse? Can you handle the blood, Joann?
I like kids when they're a little bit older.
There you go. Yeah, I
wanted always, from the time I was little, I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
Now that was my goal. It was never in my head to be a nurse.
I'm pretty sure I learned when we were dissecting frogs in like freshman science class that medical field was not going to be for me.
But see, I love biology. I love dissecting frogs. And when I was in college, we did fetal pigs, and I loved that. I loved exploring the inner. We start with an earthworm.
Yeah. That's a pretty basic thing to start
My lab
with.
partner, who was male, would not touch the frog, and I was like, "Ooh, this is so interesting." But I don't know.
Yeah,
They weren't live when you started, were they?
No.
They smelled of
It isn't
formaldehyde.
like that. Do you ever see that movie where the little girl left all the frogs go because they had to put ether or something in? No, ours were already dead.
Yeah.
Is that ET? Oh, okay. Yeah, where they let all the frogs go, but they had to euthanize them or put them. I don't know. That's a show from the 90s. So
that was one of those movies. All right. Well, before we get to all things pause, do we have some trivia for just Joann and I this morning, Tom?
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I was
All right.
changing my thing. I will go back. 1610.
By the
No.
way, we're still curious if this QR code in the corner actually works. So if you're at home watching, thanks for watching, and
I
maybe
don't
check
even see a QR code.
the QR code. It might be blocked out by something, but I don't know. I'm curious if it works and if it actually goes to the place it's supposed to go. So if you got a minute,
Let's see here. I'm working on it.
see if it goes where it's supposed to go, and let us know in the chat.
Where
You're
is
right.
the-
It's blocked out by
I
the
see it.
live.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Blocked
a
out by the
live-
live thing. Switch you and Joann.
Well,
What?
the live button's going to stay there.
Oh, is
I don't
it?
think. Yeah, that's not going to move.
At least we're not dead.
We're Let's see if I go to INCROWD or to LinkedIn. On my LinkedIn screen, we see the full QR code, and the live
Yeah.
button is just up to the top of it. So that's okay. That works.
So if you click on that, what happens? We dance or
It should go to a website, and yeah, I'm curious if it works. So,
I
all
tried.
right. Oh no, Tom's.
He did. Tom was beamed up.
Let's try this
Beamed up,
again.
Scotty.
There
There
you
he
are.
is. Where did you go, Tom?
You rebooted there for a second, Tom.
No,
Check,
I didn't
check.
go anywhere.
You disappeared on us for just a second.
Okay. All right.
All right.
You'll have to believe us because it's true.
Well, I believe you. It's just that I didn't touch anything. I have no control over it. Anyway. All right. Well, here we go.
Here we
Question
go.
number 1. You ready?
We're ready.
All right.
All right. I've chosen 3 random questions. They're as random as it gets. 2 of them regular, 1 of them Rockford trivia. Here we go. Question number 1. What was the name of the enemy faction of the G.I. Joe toy line?
Oh my gosh.
What?
The enemy group of the G.
Didn't it start with an S?
The enemy group.
No, it did not.
It
The
didn't
enemy
start with the letter
faction
S.
of the G.I. Joe toy line. In other words, G.I. Joe's main nemesis that he fought all the time.
Oh. G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip.
Yeah.
Who did he fight? I don't remember.
What do you got, Joann? I hear somebody saying something.
Yeah, they're trying to help me because I don't know. Cobra.
Cobra's correct.
Nicely done. Pause, folks.
Yay!
Cobra. Yes.
Nicely
You
done.
do know I have a team out here.
I had a G.I. Joe as a kid,
As
but I
long
don't
as
remember
nobody's
that,
looking
guys.
anything up, it's all good.
Oh,
you have-
okay.
Yeah, they just can't look anything up.
Brain.
All right, here we go. Question number 2. The most recognizable song in the world, according to Guinness Book of World Records, was first published in 1924. What is that song?
It's got to be Happy Birthday, right?
I was thinking happy birthday.
Happy birthday it is. Happy birthday.
All right. All right.
All right, here's your final question, Rockford trivia. In what year? Well, actually, the year was 1988. They were the first minor league team, baseball team in Rockford. They were called the Rockford what?
Expos.
Mm.
The Rockford Expos.
Expos is correct.
Oh,
Wow.
Yes.
I got
Expos.
3. No, really.
All right,
Nicely done.
Joann. Here you go, Joann.
Nicely
Ready?
done.
Here you go.
Whoa, we got the trophy this week.
You didn't catch the trophy. I threw you the trophy. You didn't catch it. It's okay.
I tried to get it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, good
Well-
job, Joann and the pause.
Somebody scanned our QR code. I got a little notification that they scanned it, so it must be working.
Oh.
Yay! Tell us in the chat if it went to a place that you can actually decipher and read and share about. So, all right. Joann has already sent me our PAWS Pet of the Week. Thank you, Alice and Salem. You got a bonded pair going on there.
Yes. Do you want to go look at them or are you okay?
I'm fine if you are. Let's go take
Okay,
a
we
live
can-
look at Alice and Sam. Relinquished due to an owner's moving. Couple of girls that need to be adopted together.
I'm
But
going
yeah,
to quickly move to their cage.
we'll go like this. Boom.
Oh, we can. Oh, this has to be mirrored. We haven't had any more dog adoptions. I'm trying to think of the cats. And we have, I can't just let go right to the cage. Here are our dogs. Only 3, but we took in 2 more today.
Okay.
So
And
this is
sometimes the dogs
Noelle.
are ready quickly, but sometimes it takes a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Noelle, Cece, and Babette. And Babette is a 6-year-old owner relinquished. Cece and Noelle. Cece is a year-old and Noelle is 6 months old. So all beautiful dogs. I know I'm making you dizzy because I'm moving too fast. Move too fast. These cats have a little bit of a respiratory. I'm not going to touch them.
Mm-hmm.
This is Alice.
Hello, Alice.
And this is Salem.
Oh.
So both beautiful cats. They're a bonded pair. We want them to go together. I don't know. I didn't read whether you're looking at me like, what are you doing in our enclosure?
Yeah. Didn't even knock.
Yeah, I just opened it up and came in.
Thanks a lot.
So, this is kind of, I always make a joke about it. The owners moved to a place they couldn't take their cats. Maybe moved to an apartment that didn't allow cats. I don't know.
And they're so beautiful. How can you not like cats? Come on.
Alice is like, there's something going on outside my cage. Beautiful dog, beautiful cat. I'm sorry. I'm hearing a dog barking in the background. That's why I'm kind of distracted. And then, so that's Alice and Salem, and I can't get out of the enclosure.
Oh no, we've lost Joann. All right, good deal.
And then I want to show this. This is like the funnest. Funnest, is that even a word?
Is that 3 or 4 or more? I can't tell how many.
No, there's 3, and then there's 1 in the back. I mean, if you really want fun at your house, adopt 4 cats.
Wow.
You have 4 kittens. They are adorable.
They probably
they
only
are.
eat as much as your average mid-sized dog, so there's that.
But you need to adopt. And this is Marge from last week. So that was a quick rendition. I will text you, Greg or Tom, if there's any talk of a baby.
Oh, please do.
All right.
Because I was there yesterday, and I'm going to go back to today. Of course, I'm more worried about support for my daughter than the baby will come when she is ready, because we don't know.
Right.
We don't know boy or girl.
All right. Everyone's
Laura
waiting.
wants to keep that a secret.
um.
From her too, but we do know names, so.
Okay, they got names. They're prepared either way.
Yeah. So.
All right. Good to know. Before we get to our big number of the week, I want to do a couple of quick shout outs.
Win another trophy.
Yeah. Last Saturday's Nick's Wish event out at Sports Score 1, the Shamrock Beer Run, huge success. Is as windy as it was, at least it wasn't raining. Everyone had a great time, and just a mob of people. There were so many people out there. Wonderful, wonderful, successful event. Congratulations to Nick's Wish on that. We had our first Starlight all cast meeting, and Starlight rehearsals have begun now for this year's Starlight shows out at RVC
Did
Starlight
they find
Theater.
dogs?
What?
Did they find dogs yet?
They are now on the hunt. Thanks for mentioning that. They are now on the hunt for the dogs for Legally Blonde. We need someone to play Bruiser, Elle's dog,
He has to fit in a purse.
and we need someone to play Paulette's dog. I forgot his name. Rufus? I think it's Rufus.
Maybe.
So we need a small purse-sized dog, and then a larger dog that is obviously trained and well behaved and could, come on command and
Deal with a crowd too, probably.
Not poop on the stage.
Not poop on the stage. I know a couple. My first season at Starlight Theater, I did Shrek, and I also filled in a role for Anything Goes, and Anything Goes had a dog in the cast, and it was my job to come out on stage near the end of the show with the dog in my hands and says, "Does this belong to anybody?" And then give it to the rightful owner. It was very cute. But we need
supposedly a stray dog in the.
Just a dog that escaped from its owner and on the ship, and yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
Anything Goes. It's a funny show. But since then, I'm trying to think if there's been animals in shows.
Well, have they not done Annie with?
Not at Starlight. Not at Starlight.
Oh.
I know that was a potential show for this year, but they're not doing it this year. So yeah, I can't think of if there's been a dog on stage since Anything Goes. There probably has been one, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. Anyway, if you have a well-trained dog that wants to be a part of Legally Blonde, obviously there's some rehearsals that are involved in that, and then the shows and must dates and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so there is an obligation.
I took my purse out and put Jorge in my purse, and he wasn't having it.
He's like, no, I'm not your Bruiser.
From the movie, it's kind of a small dog.
Yes.
Very
small.
Little Chihuahua.
Very small dog. So, yeah.
We have one we took in today, a little, but I think that's a puppy.
Okay. How trained?
Probably not trained yet.
How trained is the question. Want to shout out to Emily and her Grow Your Network group again online. Had a great Grow Your Network Zoom hour this week with people from all over the country. That was really cool. GTTN, our own buddy John Berlin was the presenter this week, and our next GTN first Wednesday of April. Come on out. And who's speaking on the first Wednesday of April? I believe it might be Rock House Kids as our presenter. Yes, Rock House Kids is the first Wednesday for breakfast at Machine Shed, 7 a.m. That's Wednesday, April 3rd. If you're available, come on out. That would be free to attend. Buy breakfast if you want or not. That's up to you. And then this is INCROWD week. And INCROWD this month is at Elevated Health Essentials, Thursday, March 28th, 5:30 to 7:30. Dr. Sally and Elizabeth love hosting INCROWD, and they're going to put on a really great event this Thursday night, 5:30 to 7:30. The address is 7210 East State Street in Rockford, the Century 21 Plaza building, and their offices are in the basement. There's a lot of room down there. It's really well done. Nice big area to meet at. So very much looking forward to Elevated Health Essentials INCROWD Networking Group. Again, Rockford's largest free, no binding group that there is. You can come on out. It doesn't matter how many certain business categories we have. We're not concerned about that. We just want to connect people and help people get to know other business people in the Rockford region, the 815. So come on out and join us on Thursday night. I already shouted out Harlem High School and the staff on their awesome dance throwdown yesterday at their event. That was cool. And Circle of Love, already talked about them. And I guess March Madness, we already talked about that a little bit too, because our brackets are all completely busted into pieces. If you have anything resembling a perfect bracket, Let us know. Would be completely shocked if anyone is more than 50% still in there. Picking the upsets. That's always the challenge.
Yeah, but there's in the first 64, there's 32 games. What are you going to pick 10 or 12 upsets? And another 10 or 12 will hit, but not yours. So
Right.
you could really be screwed up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Anything last to mention before we get into our big number of the week?
Is that sunglasses?
I sent you mine, by the way.
All right. I think they're ready. So let's do this. Big number. Our current race to 10 has Joann leading by a score of 2-1. Tom looking for a chance to tie it up here today with his guests. 640 million is the big number of the week, Joann. 640 million. The answer is spend or Scott. Spend or Scott. And Tom's already given me his answer. I need yours.
Okay. My godchild is Scott, so I'm going to choose Scott.
You're going to choose Scott. So either you're both scoring or you're both not scoring today. That's what's happening because you both chose the same thing. The American households that pay for streaming entertainment now spend on average, get this, $61 per month across about 4 services. Last year, that number was only 48. So it is going up what we're paying for streaming services. At its peak, cable TV American households, there's over 100 million American households that subscribe to cable. Right now, we're at about 70 million. The dip, though, makes sense because all this new original content on cable has fallen by almost 40% since 2015. So people are leaving cable and taking on these services, and you're both scoring a point because Mackenzie Scott is the answer of our big number of the week. Do you know who Mackenzie Scott is?
I won a lot of points today.
I'll give you a hint. Mackenzie Scott is really, really rich. And she is very, very rich because of her divorce. Well, not because of her divorce, but she got half.
Jeff Bezos' ex-wife?
Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott. She has made it a promise to the world. She's going to donate at least half of her wealth to charity by the time she passes away. And she's given $640 million to United States nonprofits after receiving over 6,000 applications in an open call for funding. She's obviously worth billions of dollars. She's got a ways to go before she gives away at least half of her wealth to charity. But kudos, Mackenzie Scott, and all that she's doing to bolster not-for-profits in the United States and the things that happen around the world. So cool beans. All right. An extra 20 minutes this week. That's okay, right?
We're stretching our show. As long as we stretch our viewership.
Up and down. Up and down. Some people like us on the YouTube channel. Some people only watch us on Facebook. We continue to encourage people to join us over on Spotify. The show, once the show is done, gets thrown up over on our Spotify channel. So please, 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 if at all possible, look us up on Spotify and follow us there and give us that 5-star review because that really does help us in the whole algorithm game. If people are looking for things in the Rockford area and the 815 area, we want to come up right away near the top of their search. So please leave your positive comments and reviews there. All right, friends, I think that wraps it up for this week. Remember, you change the world when you help one person, so be a blessing to someone this week. We'll try to do the same. And Tom, hold on for a second, all right?
Okay.
We'll catch you on the flip side.
Right, I'm out of here on baby watch. So
good luck, Joann.
All right.
Best.
Just keep us posted.
All right. You take care.
In crowd. 815 in crowd.